Hey everybody, Gabby Hart with Fox 26 here. And thank you guys for tuning into this Thursday stream of The Missing. For those of you who don't know, this is a time where we digitally highlight the dozens of missing persons cases that we've covered on our series, The Missing. The Missing is a segment that we take very personally here at Fox 26. And no matter who the person is, what their background, what their habit, their situation was, we take the time out to highlight them, to tell their stories, and to give their loved ones a platform to talk about their missing loved ones in hope of bringing them home one day. So in this Thursday's edition, we're following up on a story that aired about 3 weeks ago on Shapammala Buckner. Now, Shapammala did vanish under extremely strange circumstances. We can't exactly talk about all of the details, but I will be joined by her cousin a little bit later to kind of talk about what's happened since this piece is aired. But before we do that, I do want to give you guys a look at the story of Shapammala Buckner. Take a look.
Little stuff like that, this keeps you angry.
20-year-old Shapammala Buckner hasn't been seen since the night of June 21st, 2017. Her last known location was the Forest Point Apartments on North Burrell Drive near Highway 45. That's where she'd been living. Shapammala's cousin, Monica Ravis, and her uncle, Bill Ravis, sat down with Fox 26, and they shared their frustration with the lack of answers and information about her disappearance. Her family says they have strong suspicions and reason to believe that someone harmed Shapammala. They say police even questioned the people that they suspect, but they were never arrested or charged.
Do you guys believe that they harmed Shapammala?
I do.
But the only conclusion that we can come up with at this point.
For legal reasons, we can't get into the specifics of who they believe was involved and what they think may have happened.
It's too much. So.
What do you mean?
Just her missing circumstances, the people involved, what's done, being done, what's not being done, what we can do more. It's just. So I don't know.
You seem frustrated.
I am.
You get frustrated from the lack of no information coming from the detectives, the police department. No, I mean.
You feel like she's been forgotten?
I do.
We think so.
What we can say is that the family claims a neighbor told them she heard an altercation inside of Shapammala's apartment the night she disappeared. No one saw or heard from her after that, and that the leasing manager found Shapammala's apartment unlocked.
Keys, her purse, her debit card, everything was left at the house.
Monica says the response family got from the missing person detective was disheartening.
The last thing that he said was, maybe she just don't want to be found.
Shapammala's family says they know in their hearts that she didn't just up and leave without a word.
At that time, 20 years old, with no money or whatever, even if she was gone for a while, she would have to eventually contact someone for some type of support. Altercation, then all of a sudden the person go missing. You don't want to jump to no conclusion to say something bad has happened. You just hope, just keep looking.
A beautiful young woman, 20 years old at the time that she vanished. And I do want to clarify something that the family corrected me on after this story aired, is that the last date she was seen was actually May 21st of 2017. I'm joined now by her cousin. You just heard her speak in that interview, that story that we did. Her name is Monica Ravis. She corrected me on that name pronunciation a little bit earlier. It is Ravis, not Ravis. I'm sorry about that.
Exactly.
Monica, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing good. For the circumstances, I'm doing good.
Yeah, considering.
Right.
What has that reaction been like from your family, from people who know you after this story aired?
After the story aired, actually on the day it aired, one of the second day, it was her birthday. So we went out, we celebrated. Well, at the apartments, we had a prayer visual. I didn't want to do a balloon release, but a prayer visual. And we had a big, nice turnout from, and people were like, "Oh, I saw you on the news on Channel 26," and we got a pretty, like a good turnout, and actually a team came out, and we had security and everything. They were great, and so we just been getting a lot of like support. Like a lot of people been reaching out, offering their services to us, and just pretty much praying with us and for us, and just hoping for the best. And it's
Yeah.
just been overwhelming. Like so many people.
Now, did you hear anything from law enforcement after this piece aired?
No. So I only thing I heard was I contacted her the new investigator, and I left my information, and still no call back. Um, Other than that, no, nothing.
Yeah.
All right.
When you were watching this story, I mean, what was going through your mind? I know you sat down with me when we did this interview, but seeing, this is your younger cousin. You said she had hopes, she had goals.
Right.
What was it like for you sitting back and watching this play out on a TV screen?
It just honestly just brought back memories, and it was just very heartbreaking because, I don't know, she just didn't deserve whatever it was that happened to her. It just brought me back with a bunch of emotions, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now let's kind of get into it, because there were some things that we couldn't address. And I know that you found that frustrating.
Exactly.
Your uncle found it frustrating, but for legal reasons, for those at home watching this, we had to be very careful, because as I mentioned in the piece, that Monica, her uncle, Shapammala's uncle, they had suspicions. They know in their hearts who was inside of that apartment with Shapammala.
Right.
They know that someone heard an altercation, and they believe that those people might have been responsible. But before legal reasons, we can't say their names. We can't get into who they were related to or anything like that.
Right.
And, I mean, without, kind of getting into that, Monica, how is that made you feel, kind of having to navigate around what you think to be true?
Right. Honestly, I was very, very upset, because it's just not fair, because we know for a fact what went on and what happened. And we have the text messages and everything that she was, speaking to the neighbor about what was happening, and we seen it live from what she was saying. So the fact that we can't just really go into detail, I'm highly upset. I can't even explain, but I know I'm very upset, because it's like we're suffering, and then they're just walking around freely with not a care in the world, like it's nothing to them.
But at the end of the day, I know I asked you guys this in that interview, and your uncle said that he wasn't giving up hope. Billy, that's the gentleman you saw there.
Right.
You kind of, when I asked that question, stayed quiet. You didn't say that you've given up hope, but you also didn't agree with him, wholeheartedly. Like, yeah, there's still, it seemed like you kind of, there was something else on your mind. And at this point, I mean, do you feel like Shapammala is going to come home alive? What is on your heart?
On my heart, I of course I want her to come home alive, but just facing reality, I know, and it's just been too many things that I've experienced and went and seen from my own eyes, that to seem like she's not even with us anymore. Like it's just been a lot. It's weird things, but clarification to me enough that I don't think that she will.
Yeah.
I just don't think so. Just being honest. And like I tell my family, yeah, of course we praying and we want her to, come home safe and like she was, but I'm not, I just know something. Yeah, I just doubt it.
We can't say the names or get into the specifics, but
Right.
your message to the people that you believe in your heart had something to do with her disappearance. I mean, what would you say to them right now if they're seeing these, these podcasts and these stories, I mean, what message would you deliver to them? Because they know who they are, whether we can
Right.
say their names or not.
Right. Of course, I would just say to them to have a heart, which I know they don't, but to have a heart and just, at least be honest about what happened that day and just tell us something. We know, around about like the outside covering of what happened, but we need them to just go into detail and tell everything that happened and what was the end result. Just to be honest, just to come and talk to us and tell us.
Did it provide you all any relief? Any sort of, I guess, just did it give you any sort of, hope or relief? I mean, seeing her face, on TV, seeing the fact that there were billboards put up of her as the
Yeah.
story aired, how did that make you all feel?
Um, I felt a lot like way a lot better. When I saw the billboards, of course I smiled and was like, wow. But then again, I mean, it's just like a mix of emotions because you see your loved one, but then under the circumstances, like it's not like she's saying, oh, I got a tax business. That's not why she's on the billboard. So I was kind of like, wow, look at Shapammala. And then I'm like, okay. But the reason for her being on the billboard is it was like I got mad all over again. You
Yeah.
know,
But I
yeah,
mean, seeing this coverage, I mean, did it, so many families don't have
right,
that, or their loved ones are missing.
exactly,
They're just stuck to, social media. Uh,
right,
how did what was the reaction like from, your aunts and your uncle? Because we hadn't spoken to him,
hmm,
was there a sense of something's
right,
being done? We can
right,
kind of take a breath.
right,
Somebody will know.
right. He's actually feeling a lot better. That something more that has been being done is getting done. So
Mm.
he really feels like we're actually moving and doing something, like something that means something. And I
Versus
feel
just
the
kind of
same,
sitting around and, you know,
right.
mhm.
Right, because at first I'm gonna be honest, when it first happened, the first couple years, I kind of was like, I don't know, I just stopped. Like I didn't never stop looking and never stop doing things behind the scenes, like, making phone calls and checking here and there and doing this and doing that. But it just I wasn't, just actively involved.
Yeah.
But now it's like getting news coverage and just shedding more light on her situation. It's kind of gave me more of like get up and go harder and try to get things done on her behalf.
Yeah. Because you said, that interview, I sensed your frustration when we're talking, because
Right.
when you're like, I don't know,
Yeah.
and I could tell that there was something a little more there. And you guys said, it feels like she's been forgotten.
Right. Yeah, because um with law enforcement and everything, with mainly them, they is like you think they would contact the family or give us some kind of like information. They changed investigators, didn't even tell us. They just have been doing a lot of stuff. And then when I contacted them, they told me that there's been an update to her case, but they couldn't. The guy who answered the phone couldn't tell me anything. The investigator had to tell me.
And when was
So,
that?
um,
When was that?
this was like what day? I don't know what day I spoke with you. Whatever day it
Ballpark.
was I spoke with you. It was that day I contacted them, and
So a
I
couple of weeks ago.
yeah,
Hmm.
and I was still just waiting on that call back. And today I'm gonna remember to call back again tomorrow because I've been had a lot of things going on. But um, yeah, nothing. They just law enforcement. They just they don't care. Like they just
Mhm.
we got a call from one guy who was helping us. He was like, well, the you need to contact and what led me to contact the investigator again because when he called him and was trying to get information, he was like, well, you need to contact them because they're not giving me the full details, but they said that her missing persons case is now homicide, and I'm like, what? So, when I called, the guy was like, well, there's been an update. He was like, I don't know about homicide or anything like that, but I can't give you, any like details, but the investigator has to contact you. And like I said, again, I left my information. My uncle has left his, and still we have got no callbacks.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Right. Yes. Very.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy that we could at least, get this out there, get her face out there.
Right.
Like somebody out there knows something.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And, looking at her, she's a beautiful young woman. And we're hoping that we can one day, bring you guys that closure. I mean, that's our hope for all of these families. Any final thoughts from you? Anything else that you would like to add or that you feel like was left out in telling Shapammala's story?
Not really, as far as like I said, what we can go into detail about. Not really, but I do have a good at this point. After that, everything has aired. I have a better. I feel better about things because I did speak with her boyfriend at the time, and he's working with me. He's really doing what he needs to do. He explained to me how he felt, and how it has affected him. And he just told me that he's gonna do everything in his power to help
Very
get
good.
her, get some answers at least.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good. Well, thank you. I want to one more time just pop Shapammala's face up here. 20-year-old Shapammala Buckner, missing since 2017. Somebody out there knows what happened to her.
Exactly.
Somebody has information. This family is asking for you to do the right thing. Remember, you can always report any information you have anonymously to Crime Stoppers and even get a reward up to $5,000 for anything that leads to information or an arrest. But do the right thing. This family is grieving. I say this all the time. I say that if you can take the time, if you can scroll through Instagram, if you can scroll through TikTok,
Exactly.
take the time and scroll through the missing persons pages from your community, your area, because you never know what you might see that might make a difference. So Monica, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join with us, and we'll keep trying to help you and keep her name out there as much as we can. So keep us in the loop. And for those of you at home, you can follow me on Facebook, Gabby Hart News, Twitter, Gabby Hart News, to stay up to date with every missing persons update, missing persons segment that we're going to be airing. Follow me there for more information on the one that's going to be airing in a couple of Mondays as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And until next time, take care.